We can begin. Could everybody please be seated? Give you one more minute to be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tony Gallo. I'm on the Newsmakers Committee at the National Press Club. And welcome to the National Press Club, the world's largest, oldest, and most professional organization for professional journalists and news and others. It's a rarity that the president of the National Press Club acts as moderator. Today is an exception because of the importance of this newsmaker. John Hughes is the 108th president of the National Press Club. He is with Bloomberg News, working in the breaking news desk for the last 4 years. He has been a journalist for 30 years, formerly with the Associated Press and some newspapers from the state of Minnesota. He is a graduate of the University of Minnesota and the prestigious McGill School of Journalism. He is married and the father of 2 children. And with that, the program will begin. We turn it over to John Hughes. Thank you.
C-A-N-T-U. And Bishop Cantú comes to us from Las Cruces, New Mexico. And to Bishop Cantú's right, we have Dr. Carolyn Woo. Carolyn is C-A-R-O-L-Y-N, and Woo is W-O-O. She is the president and CEO of Catholic Relief Services. And the 3 of them are going to discuss the U.S. Church's efforts to teach and act on what they see as the vision of Pope Francis, and that in particular on the human and climatological issues. The 2 bishops head up the response to the Laudato Si, which is the Pope's climate plan. And they head up the response to this plan for the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. Archbishop Wenski chairs the Conference of Catholic Bishops Committee on Domestic Justice and Human Development.
Reception here in the United States of the Pope's recent encyclical Laudato Si. And we sought to support our brother bishops as they preach and teach on this encyclical. The Pope has chosen moments of engagement with the very powerful and the very poor during his various visits throughout the world. And so much of his pontificate has reflected the Church's mission to bring the gospel to all people, and has demonstrated that all people, regardless of their standing, are connected to one another. And Laudato Si reflects this perspective. We are connected to each other, and therefore we owe special attention to one another, but especially to those on the margins of our nation and our world. And it is hard to imagine that the Pope...
Every level, communal, national, and international. In an increasingly globalized context, this has concrete implications for our collaboration with the world community. If everyone and everything is connected, we must seek to work together across boundaries, and especially between richer and poorer nations. The Pope has very specific ideas about these efforts. Pope Francis clearly intended Laudato Si to be a positive influence on the international climate talks in Paris in December. The voice of the Church is critical to these discussions, ensuring that the cry of the poor is heard and counseling against wrong-minded solutions. Pope Francis underscores the importance of working for a global consensus on sustainable energy production. He urges the world community to seek meaningful international agreements that address pressing ecological problems.
1943 by the Bishops' Conference of the United States at that point is to take refugees out of Eastern Europe. And today we're still working with a lot of refugees. By and large, we seek to serve the poorest and the most vulnerable. When we talk about the most poor, we're talking about people who make $1.25 a day to about $2.50 a day. In the world, there are about 2 billion people in that category. We reach about 100 countries, over 100 countries, and serve about 100 million people. So that's our footprint. I come to you from CRS, but my background is not so much in development, actually. My whole background is in business and business education, and a lifelong Catholic, and that's how I come into this work. From the instructions, I see that you're interested in knowing what the church is doing. On behalf of CRS, I'm going to give you a sense of the 3 types of work that we do.
Live, that's NPC Live, the hashtag we're using for today's event. We're going to take question and answers now. I would just ask that you raise your hand and then identify yourself before you ask your question. We have a microphone coming around. My distinguished colleague